Guys, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. I always appreciate our time together. Hey, listen, my name's Rob, and if you're new here, this is just a little channel that follows my exploits as a small business owner in the waste management field. My business name is The Rubbish Pro, and I rent dumpsters. But today, what I want to talk about is my experience with my load trail roll-off dumpster, and I kind of want to talk about everything that's wrong with it. So let's roll the intro and get right into it. Hey guys, stop real quick. You see that right there? That American flag in the middle? If you are proud to be an American, click subscribe. See what I did there? Now you have to. We're in the shop right now. We are about to go out front here, and the reason I started out here is because it's climate controlled. It's a little cold outside. Fall's definitely upon us, and the temperatures are dropping. But we're going to go out here and talk about the Load Trail 14,000 pound roll-off system. Now, I knew very little about these systems and about this business in general when I really got started. I bought this because it was available and because it was close. I wanted to get into business. I wanted to start making moves, and I wanted to start turning some of my my money back into money. I wanted to get my money invested and start this business. So we found this setup in Tennessee. I'm in northern Alabama. We drove about 3 or 4 hours to middle Tennessee to pick this up. And there are several things that I really like about the Load Trail, but there are several things that I will say kind of let me down on the Load Trail setup. So let's walk outside here, and we're going to kind of pick this thing apart and give you some information, and maybe you can see if this is how you want to spend your 20 grand or not. Just checking the status on my latest Google ads. 466 impressions, 61 clicks. Spent 153 bucks. I've got a couple phone calls off of it. Looks like the hot words: dumpster rental near me, waste management. Those are the hot ones for my area. If you don't have your Google ads set up, you're probably missing phone calls. Just saying. Okay, we are outside here, and I'm gonna start by saying it's not all been good. My experience with the Load Trail setup has been a mixed bag. The amount of money I spent for me was a lot of money. Some of you guys I know are into hook lifts and just spending big money. I don't have that kind of money, but I started and I got in where I can get in, where I could get in, where I could, financially afford it. And I've said it before, just get in where you can, even if it's one small trailer or a dump trailer, or even just like a regular trail. Just get in where you can and start working. This is the level at which I could get in, and I don't want to hear a bunch of bull about, hey, you should have got a this or that. This is what I got. Okay, it works. It makes money. Makes green money. So I'm in that regard, I'm happy with it. Now, as a fabricator and a mechanic, I'm less pleased with the equipment here. The first thing I noticed, let's do this. Let's talk about when I got this thing home and the fashion in which it was when I got it. All right, so this is how I brought it home. I brought it home with my truck, and I had 2 bins stacked inside. One of them, which was not this one, was on, my other bin was on the bottom, and this one was actually stacked in the other one. None of the doors were installed onto the bins at all. So I had 4 doors just sitting loosely in bins, and these 2 bins stacked. I paid a guy a couple $100 to unstack them for me, and brought them home and went to work on assembling them with the doors. That's where I noticed the first problems. Now this bin, unfortunately I don't have the other bin here to talk about it because it's rented out, but as I hung the doors, I noticed, and I tried the doors on different bins and different configurations, and whenever they jigged these up, the hinges, none of them matched. Like I didn't have to bend anything, but like you could see I had to shim things up here with washers to get it to sit right. There is a hole in this pin for a cotter pin to go through. None of them lined up. The hole was like right in line with the bracket, so it was unusable. This one I actually haven't drilled yet, but I need to, and on the other side I might have done it, but I need to drill new holes and install some cotter pins in there for that. So the first issue I had when I hung these doors was this bracket was a mess. Now the second issue, it's actually on the other bin. This bin is built correctly, or this door I should say is built correctly. You can see the standoffs are part of the bin, and this bracket here is part of the door. Now on my other bin, these two are swapped, and the reason that's a big deal is because you see how it goes back this way. What that allows for is when the door comes all the way back, it allows it to go flat with the surface of the bin here, the side of the bin. My other doors, since these two are basically inverted and flipped, I get about, I don't know, 200 degrees of rotation, and it comes right here. The safety chain wouldn't even catch. I actually had to elongate the safety. Okay, no, my bad. This is the bad one. So here's the one where I had to elongate the safety chain. So this is technically backwards. Forget what I just said. This is wrong. This part should be on here. This part should be on there. This door only opens up to 200 degrees or so. Actually, you know what? Let me pull the truck forward and I'll show you. All right, let's get back here and I'll explain the situation here. So I'm going to swing this door open here. Not sure if you saw that, but you see how that door kind of springs open? I mean, this box is not square, but I'll get to that next. So anyways, we'll swing the door open here, and you can see this is as far as the door will go right here. Now originally this safety chain was only to the black link, and you can see the black link is about a foot from where it ties off to. So I had to add some links, and now it works. I can tilt the bed and everything works just fine. So that is an issue. It was an issue. It still is an issue. Not very happy with that. The fact that these two bins were built completely different by different people, I'm sure. So that was thing number one that I noticed. Thing number two is once I did get the doors hung, I could not get them to join up and meet right here, the bottom bracket and the top. They just wouldn't close. So after taking measurements and measurements and measurements, I found out that the bin wasn't square. The back of the bin is open, or is closed, about 2.5 to 3 inches more than the opening part here. Now, my fix for that was I'm just going to bend it back together. Clearly, it's not square. It is a dumpster. I get that. But for the money you're paying for these, the shit should work. It should absolutely work. So after not being able to get the doors closed, what I did is, no, it needed to be spread. That's what it was. The front was open more than the back. The back these back pillars kind of posted in. So what I ended up doing was getting a bottle jack and some post and spreading the top enough to make it work, which is, it was very difficult to do because you can see you've got structural tubing here and then you got a tie in here. So the only room you have to bend, is basically from here up. It's not going to bend down here. And if you look down that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is coming in still. So I don't know when it got bent in assembly or in transportation or what, but this box right here is not square, and at the end of the day, it was up to me to make it work. Now coming back to the hinge issue, I did contact the manufacturer and I told him, I said, hey look, these are built backwards. I sent him pictures. I said blah, 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 blah. The other one works great. This one, the safety chains don't match up, so on and so forth. And I filed a complaint, and you basically took it to the dealer first before the manufacturer and said, hey, will you guys run this up the chain and see what they say? And what they said was, fix it and we'll cut you a check. And I was like, how about you give me a new bin or you fix it. And they were like, no, fix it. And as a matter of fact, you fix it, and we'll pay up to, $70 an hour for labor or whatever it was for a maximum. I think they gave me I can't remember the details. I don't want to spout it off, and just throw out bad information. But basically, the long story short was they were like, you fix it. And I'm like, bro, dude, what? I gave you $23,000 of my dollars for this, and the damn doors don't shut, and I have to fix it? Come on, man. Now, thankfully, I am a fabricator and a welder, and if anything needed to be fixed like that, I could do it. So I said, whatever, fine, send me the hinges. They sent me a new set of hinges, and I told them I got a price quote from a local shop because I just don't have the time for it. And they said, okay, get it fixed and then send us the invoice and then we'll reimburse you. And I was like, dude, you guys should really be cutting me a check for this bullshit that you've clearly seen is wrong. You guys should just be cutting me a check for it. Long story short, I got a box, a set of new hinges in there, and I'm just done dealing with them. Sometimes it's easier just to, let me get the sun right. Sometimes it's easier just to take it on the chin and get to work. It's like a dollar holding up a dime, or a dime holding up a dollar. So at the end of the day, I added some links on this. I've got a new set of hinges. Maybe this winter, if it gets slow enough, I'll do it. Or maybe I just won't. I don't know. So far, that's where we're at. Let's continue on. There's a couple more things on the build quality of this particular box that I'm not too happy with. Okay, another problem I had with this this particular box, and then we'll move on to the trailer, is these main rollers here. They have a large kingpin and a nut that keeps the kingpin from sliding through. Well, when I purchased this box, this was installed backwards. This kingpin was installed backwards, and the problem it had is if you look right there, there's a notch in this forward bracket here, that bracket right there, that keeps the box from vertically hopping up once it's locked into place. Well, with this flipped to the other side, I don't know if you can see how close the tolerance is there, but it would prevent the box from being pulled up and locking into place. So I would have to fight with it and put my shoulder into this and as I was winching it up, move the box over and all this other stuff. I was like, this is not right. I looked at it, and I said, this is just wrong. And I compared it to the other box, which was probably built by the guy who had been at Load Trail for a while. I think I got this apprentice box. That's what I call this one. This is my apprentice box. It was built by the apprentice. Anyways, I flipped it around, no problems. But still, for what you're paying, this shit should be locked in, and they should have some kind of quality control before these things go out the door. Let's move on to the trailer. Problems with the trailer. Okay, I'm under the tongue here, and the first big problem I had with the trailer is right here. This is the solar panel, or the solar charging panel for the winch battery. Now, I have since unplugged it, and I'll tell you why I've unplugged it. Let me open this here. Also, there's no strut on this aft box. There's a strut on this one, but not on this one for whatever reason. So I unplugged this because what was happening is I would charge the equipment here through the charger, and everything would get smoking hot if I had the solar panel plugged in. All the wires and everything. I don't know if it was backfeeding power into the charging panel or what, but it was getting ridiculously, I'm going to burn this thing down hot. So I've since bypassed it. I unplugged it, and I just charge nightly here with my plug here. It actually says it's charging right now, which doesn't make any sense because it's not plugged in. I'll have to look at that. Anyways, so yeah, that, and another problem I really didn't like is that this is the battery hold down, a bungee cord that has been doubled over and zip tied. It's not quality. Not quality. I don't like that. Now in the front box here, okay, see there's a strut, it works. In the front box here, we've got the same thing. We have a bungee cord here, but that's only enough to secure it fore and aft. There's no lateral tie down on this. So what happens, you can see it moves. What happens, look right here. This is pulling the wire out of this fitting here. I've ran this thing maybe 3,000 or 4,000 miles now, and it's just, they could have done way better. And I'm actually going to come up with something to hold that battery in place. But yeah, that's what you get. All right, the next thing I want to show is, let me tilt this thing up here. Next thing I want to show is some more of the build quality for this trailer. Must not chain that door. I don't want it to hit the ground. That's probably enough. All right, let me turn you around here. Okay, so the way the load trail is built, I do like it. It has a boxed frame construction on both the can and the trailer, rather than it's sitting in a C channel like a lot of the trailers. You pull it up onto basically tube frame. In my opinion, it's very strong. The problem comes right here. Check this out. So these are rollers that the boxed tubing of the can sit on. Now you can see there once was a Zerk fitting that went in there. Now I haven't had this thing apart yet to know, and it's all been welded and fabricated in, so it's not terribly serviceable other than through that Zerk fitting. But basically what it is a Zerk fitting, and there's holes in that piece of tubing that allow you to move grease through the inside of the tube fitting and between the surfaces here on the rollers. Well, the first time I tried to service it, I touched that Zerk fitting and it fell off. This one was missing, just never had one in there. This one is about to be missing. Look at the angle on that. Did Stevie Wonder install that fucking thing? And then over here, it's broken off. Oh no, it's not broken off. It's just not there. There's grease smashed in there, but there's no Zerk fitting. Let's check the other side. It's crooked, but it's in there. No Zerk fitting, no threads. No Zerk fitting, no threads. One fully seated Zerk fitting right there. And the rest of them seem to be okay. All the service ports up here on this stuff looks okay. There's service ports there on this RAM and the bottom part here. And I believe there is, yeah, there's one in there too. Okay, with that said, it is not all bad. I like the overall build quality of these trailers. All the welding is good, you know, other than like things not being square. I like the design of it. I like the fact that it has box tubing on the trailer and the can itself. I'm happy with that. Like if you look at all the welds here, let me show you some of the welds. Like the welding is pretty good. Here, let me turn this around. You can see that it's been welded, looks like a downhill where they pulled it, but that looks pretty good. Like all the welds are pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with that overall. Now, I'll say that most of the problems have been with this particular can. Now, granted, it's like a $5,000 can. You'd think that, you know, you could get some QC for this. To me, it's a lot of money, and it should be squared away, but it's not. But as a welder fabricator, these are all things that bother me, but aren't showstoppers. Now, the average guy who got into the game, if he would have got this can, he would have been, you know, at a dead end. He would have hung the doors and be like, none of these brackets fit. I can't close the doors. What am I supposed to do? It would have been a trip back to the dealer, which is a frustrating thing, especially when you start dealing with the manufacturer and they're like, yeah, just fix it and then we'll cut you a check. Which probably, I mean, you do what you got to do. And if that's the way that these sort of things get handled typically, I mean, that's the way they get handled. But for me, as a consumer, spending my cash, my cash, like I didn't finance this, I spent my cash. I earned that money and gave it to them. And I had problems. And they're like, yeah, fix it. We'll settle up after you pay more money. It just rubbed me the wrong way. Overall, am I happy with the load trail? Yes. It has not let me down as far as working. The only thing I don't like as far as like its capabilities, I think it has an underpowered winch. It's the X20 Smitty built, and it works, but I feel that it's underpowered. Now, I know a lot of guys are going to say, well, it's a winch setup, blah, blah, blah. You know, you need a reeving setup and this. I don't have that money. This is the money I got. So this is what I have. But I think it could use a winch upgrade. When that one gets worn out, all it needs to really do is give me a sign that it's getting worn out, and I'm going to replace it with something heavier. Now, it's on a good piece of 1/4 inch plate. I like the way it's tied into the frame and everything. I don't have to worry about that. So I think I can upgrade it safely and get something with a little bit more pull on it. So from the operator's perspective, I think it's a great it's a great tool. It works fine. Like I said, there's some build quality issues with it, and I know it's not top of the line. I always hit my head on that. Always. Now I know it's not top of the line equipment, but I will say for what you pay, you're paying $20,000+ for this equipment. Obviously, it was built to work a certain way. It should meet that standard, and the fact that it doesn't is a little bit, well, it's a letdown, And as a consumer, it sucks. Now, I guess what it would come down to is if I would buy this again. And the answer is yes, I would buy this again for the same price if it all worked. Now, knowing what I know, I would be more particular about the things to look for. The little things like the Zerk fittings missing and being installed, crooked and all these other things. I've actually ordered a bunch of Zerk fittings, and I'm going to retap those holes and make it right, by the way. But all those things, if I would have found that, knowing what I know now, I probably would have passed on this trailer and kept looking or tried to get them down on the price, some. But overall, as an operator's perspective, it works great. The downside about the winch being underpowered, I've found ways to minimize the to minimize that as a problem. Number one, when I load a heavy can, I don't pull a can up onto the trailer. I pull the truck under the trailer. So I'll leave it in neutral and just use the winch to suck the truck and trailer underneath the can until it gets to about that halfway point where I can drop it flat on the bed and then just suck it in. Then the winch has no problem. So maybe that's just an operator error on my part, that I don't know what I'm doing, and hey, yeah, you're not supposed to be pulling 3 tons at a 30-degree angle, with a 10,000-pound winch or whatever. So yeah, that could be my issue as well. But again, overall, the equipment works. I've got it to a point where I use it reliably. It hasn't let me down. The things I need to get done soon, or I have to take care of those battery issues where the batteries move around a lot. Because, these trailers, if you've ever been to a dump, you know that is not sufficient for a battery in a dump trailer or a roll-off. Dude, we are sometimes catching air at the dump, going up and down hills. And that's just not okay. That's a lead-acid battery. And for it to be bouncing around like that, that's totally inexcusable in my opinion. That wouldn't even pass a DOT inspection in states that have that. Come on, you got to do better than that. A bungee, at least have 2 bungees for lateral and forward and aft, security. It's got no lateral security. If you get, if it gets hit hard enough from the side, that battery is going to shoot out from underneath that bungee. Anyways, I'm just complaining at this point. Overall, I'm happy with the trailer. There are some things, like I've pointed out like a million times now. I feel like I'm just rambling. All right, guys, another quick and dirty video in the bag here. I don't want to let me get where you can see me there. I didn't want to waste a whole bunch of time just me bitching about my equipment here. I've got a lot of things to do in here today. I'm getting somewhere on that Mustang, and hopefully I can get back to my Falcon soon. The brake system on that is what I'm working on now. So yeah, anyways, that's what the rest of my day looks like. I wanted to share that information with you. Hopefully it can help you to be a better informed consumer. Like I said, there are several things that I did not know about, and things that let me turn this down. Things that I had zero idea about that would be an issue when buying this equipment. Yeah, that's my first piece of technically heavy equipment. So I really didn't know what to look for. But I know now. So thankfully, I won't say I got bit, but thankfully the problems that I'm having were minor enough that I could fix them here at the shop. And if you are not in that position, if you're a guy who doesn't have the background as a fabricator or a welder or things like that, be very careful. Make sure the doors are on your cans. Swing the doors. Check all the greasable, serviceable ports and Zerk fittings and everything like that on your equipment prior to purchasing. And yeah, just be a better informed consumer than I was. Hopefully this information is valuable to you, and if you think it was valuable and you like what you see, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps me out. This little channel is growing a lot faster than I expected it to. Again, I value you guys, I value your input, and I hope you value my transparency. I'm trying to show you all my faux pas and the ups and downs of this business. So as you can see right now, I only have one can out there, or I do have one can out there. Things have slowed down for me this week, but I think that's just the ebbs and flows of this business. So hopefully I can get that can back out there making some more money this week. Anyways, guys, thanks so much. It's been a blast. I appreciate you guys, and see you on the next one.